Dixon, come. Dixon, come. Come. Dixon, come. Oh, he's lying down on the ground next to me. Dixon, come. Dixon, come. Dixon, come. There he is. Hi, buddy. I just came home. Oh, God, Sam. Okay. All right. We good. We good. We good. Sam, move. Okay. Hello, everyone. Don't hit the stool. Hey, stop. This is a madness. Stop hitting the stool. Stop. Hi, Freeway. Oh, thank you so much for the air kisses. He's an old man. So anyway, now that you've seen almost all of my dogs, I want you to know that I got 5 hours of sleep last night. Very interrupted sleep. So if I have like puffy eyes or like I just generally look like, ugh, that's why. But anyways, now that this intro is longer than it needs to be, a really popular video people have been doing lately, and by people I mean people in the pet community, is feeding all my pets video. For me, it was a video that I had to film over a number of days because some animals eat certain days and some animals eat different days, and I have 41, so if it looks different or anything like that, it's because it's filmed over different days. Something else I want to address is that of the 41 animals, only like 35 are mine, so you won't see me feeding Aaron's crested geckos, but you will see me feeding our blue-tongued skink because Aaron had work that day, so I fed him. You'll see everybody pretty much eating. There were only 2 geckos that didn't eat, and that's Amy and Gilly. They're both ovulating, so it wouldn't surprise me that they didn't eat. But anyways, there's not going to be an outro, so like, comment, subscribe, and if you subscribe, please hit the bell because that's how you get notified of when I post videos, and I'd really like to have you here, so please press that bell. In addition, you can also check out all the links below for Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and tons of other social media. You can also check the links below for Patreon and a donation link as well as merchandise link. One thing I want to point out about the Patreon is that this summer, as every summer that I've had animals, I'm doing a bunch of upgrades. I don't know why I always choose to do it in the summer, but I always like to do upgrades in the summer. So this summer I'm doing 5 very special upgrades, and that will be for a number of species, both in this room and out of this room. And so if you want to know about that, you can become a patron, and if not, you can just wait and I will reveal it later on in the summer after the enclosures are done. But in the video I talk about what enclosures are being changed, what I plan to do, just revealing all my exciting details because I'm very, very excited about it. But it's a lot of enclosures, so it'll be a whole summer's project, so you won't get to see it till the end of the summer. So I apologize, it's just how it is. The Patreon people, they get to see the background information, and so they get that stuff first. Without further ado, please enjoy all of my animals eating all of their food, or not eating and I just put it in there and then they eat it when I'm not around because reptiles are very shy. Anyways, enjoy. So right now what you're seeing is these rats, which that's Remy and that's Finn. They are brothers and they are foraging for food. Now see, what I used to do was just hand them treats whole. So I would take, like, for example, this is a crunched up piece of Chex. I would take a whole piece of Chex and just hand it to them, or hide it in their hammocks and stuff. As you can see now I hide other things in there, like little pieces of oats. But I was watching Ratatouille. I finally know how to pronounce it, by the way. I used to think it was Ratatea or Ratatia, but Ratatouille. Her YouTube, she was talking about how you should allow rats to forage for food because it's like what they would do in nature. And I don't have loose substrate, so I can't like hide it in substrate. But what I do is I crunch it around and sprinkle it around. He's trying to get my fingers. I crunch it around all over the floors and in the hammocks, and they literally spend a lot of time looking. I'll even like poke some in here. See, there's one in there. What is that? It's a little tiny piece of banana chip. So what I give them is some oats, some wheat Chex, some tiny pieces of banana chips, not many of them because obviously they're high in sugar, and also occasionally they get like a couple pieces of dog food just as like a little bit of protein. And I often give them like fresh greens such as turnip greens. I also give them carrots, but this is like a regular snack, and they get carrots pretty regularly. I would say like every other night or so they get little tiny pieces of carrot and other good stuff. So whenever I have like a little bit of extra snacks, I give it to them too. Look, he said, more food please. Go look for it yourself, lazy. Go look for it yourself. And in terms of a staple diet, this is Oxbow. Get out of here, fool. This is Oxbow Regal Rat. Look at Remy. He's gonna munch. And he's gonna escape because he doesn't want to look for food. He just wants to be hand-fed. Lazy boy. Anyways, so this is Oxbow Regal Rat. It is a rat food that I have been using for years. Since I've been keeping rats in 2013, I've been using it. And they have 2 bowls. They have like one here and one up there. And I fill them every couple of days, and I just let them eat as much as they want. This is about how much is left after a day or 2. in both the bowls, so I mean they eat a fair amount of it because I think I filled this bowl yesterday and I filled that bowl 2 days ago, and they definitely hit it overnight. And they also hit these snacks, don't you, buddy? Don't you? Yes, you do. Hello. He's like, what's your hand? Does your hand have food? Because that's what I want. That's what I want. I want the food. And Remy just doesn't care. He just wants to eat. Finn just wants to be hand fed because he's lazy. He lazy. He lazy. All right, now I gotta get on to the other babies. Also, look, ta-da! Clean litter trays. Watch out. Back up. Back up. I have to close the door. You're gonna get closed in. Watch your head. There you go. And like I said, I do that on all levels. I'll hide food in there. I'll hide food in that hammock, all over the place. And they spend quite a bit of time looking for it, so it's a nice little fun treat for them. Sometimes they get little rice pops, not that often. The little rice pops they sell at the pet store and stuff like that. Don't you? Yeah. What about you, Remy? Remy's a little bit more sensitive to being touched compared to Finn, actually. When I touch him, he always starts to back up and be like, what's in that hand? I can't trust that hand. But he's a sweetie. And he's very food oriented. See, look, eating all the oats. I think he prefers oats more than Finn. Meanwhile, Finn has found... Finn, what did you find? Some Chex Piece? Alright, you guys, I gotta go feed like 20 geckos. Ah, what the heck. You guys want one? Here. And for you, mister. There you go. Look, they already pooped. Just cleaned it. No, 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 you don't get another. Go eat it. Don't be silly. Go get yours, Remy. Oh my goodness. You boys are difficult. Just go eat your yums. Hornworms. There's a little bit of condensation because I had them on a heater to speed up their growth process, but there you are. So it's going to be a fun night. They love their hornworms. So this is Marjorie. She is a little leopard gecko, and by little I mean she is tiny. She's my smallest full-grown leopard gecko. I think she's only 42 grams. And also, she's very bad at hunting, if you didn't notice. She has a neurological disorder that isn't Enigma syndrome or white and yellow syndrome. I don't know why she has it. I don't actually know a lot about her background. A lot of it's up to, like, speculation, trying to figure out why she would have the problems to begin with. But I do know that she has stunted growth because she was not fed enough when she was younger. And speaking of stunted growth, this gecko right here, Asha, also has stunted growth. Her stunted growth comes from an actual deformity, though. She has a humpback, which you cannot see in this clip, but, I mean, that's okay. You can just go to Instagram or watch her reptile profile if you want to see it. But anyways, this is Asha. She's an African fattail, not a leopard gecko, and she absolutely loves hornworms. As you can see, she just gobbled it down real quick. But the thing to know about Asha is that, unlike Marjorie, she can hunt on her own. It's just, when you feed hornworms, you like to feed them off of tongs because it makes it a very easy process. This is Liana. She's a food crazy gecko, literally attacks food with such ferocity I've never seen, and she also doesn't like being handled, but she's a beautiful lady nonetheless. So yeah, that's Liana. And this is Aria. I've had some problems with her in the past regarding her health. I actually adopted her, and her sister passed away not long after I got her, and by sister I mean it was her cage mate. They weren't actually related, but I called them sisters anyway. And Aria here is very difficult, very picky with eating lately because she has been going through ovulation, but thankfully she ate a hornworm. Same thing with Melisandre, who you'll see later in this video. But ever since Aria's health problem last year regarding her calcium and laying eggs really rapidly, she's doing great. This is Benjen. Benjen is the cutest, I literally laugh saying his name because he is so precious. As you can see, he has an underbite and his head is very odd shaped. He's got a really long, lanky body. He looks underweight. Literally, no matter how much I feed him, he does not put weight on. And that's very similar to a gecko named Merlin who came from the same place as Benjen. But Benjen, he's just odd shaped. He has odd behaviors. And fortunately, he really loves hornworms though. So you can see him gobbling it down here. But he hasn't been eating recently because he's been in brumation. This is Varys. I absolutely love him. He's a huge gecko, never gives me a hard time with eating. I actually adopted him or rescued him. I don't really know which word to use, but he was like 40 grams less than what he is now, so he's doubled in size, and thank God, because he looks so good with a little bit of chub on him. Ew, look at that little... Yeah, lick it off. Good, great. This is Eddard, and he is my heart and soul. He is so precious. Eddard has Enigma syndrome, which is a neurological disorder that causes him to have problems with his balance and coordination, so he has to be hand-fed. And as you can see right there, he's doing a little bit of a head tilt. That's very common for geckos who have Enigma syndrome. Watch this right here. He's gonna jump forward because he thinks he's getting more food. I love that about him. He's so great. This is Jojen, and he can be very particular about eating. Usually he doesn't like to be tongue-fed. He likes to come out and hunt the food on his own, so you have to like get his attention. But he has just blossomed. I got him as a baby with white and yellow syndrome. He would only eat out of a bowl. He wouldn't like me. He wouldn't come out to see me. And in the last, I don't know, 4 months or so, he's really come around. He's gotten so big. He's outgrown the other babies that I got around the same age as him, and he's a little bit younger than them even. And he's eating all on his own, and he's just showing so much character, and I absolutely love it. I love that he's come around. I love that he's grown, and he looks so happy and healthy. And he's just so precious and adorable. This is Merlin. He is so overexcited when it comes to hornworms. Man, oh man, does he love his hornworms. Look at him. He literally almost jumped out of his house. Merlin is an enigma. He doesn't have enigma syndrome, but it makes him have a very odd shape and body. This is Vash. Vash is in the middle of a shed, which I discovered, of course, upon filming this clip. So I was like, well, let's see if he'll eat the hornworm anyway. And of course he did, because between Fritz and Vash, Fritz, who you'll see later, they're both pretty much just fatties who'll eat anything at any point of the year. They never stop eating. This is Marcella. She has slight enigma syndrome, and lately she's been ovulating, so she hasn't been eating. But hornworms are magic, I'm telling you right now, because every single gecko who doesn't typically eat lately ate on this day because I was offering hornworms. They love them. Marcella is also one of my smallest geckos, and she's typically always around 50 or so grams. Look how little she is. This is Fritz. He's the one I mentioned earlier during talking about Vash. He doesn't ever turn down food. He's short and stout, and he's got a chubby tail, and he always has been this way. Everyone on Instagram knows him as the chubby gecko that I have. No matter what I do, he doesn't lose weight, which I guess is a good thing, but still, he's a beautiful chubby boy, and he's the first gecko that I ever got. This is Amy. She did not eat, spoiler alert. She's ovulating, and literally nothing will change her mind about eating. In fact, she has escaped her enclosure lately because she's ovulating so much. She wants nothing to do with me. She wants to go find herself a man and procreate, but that's not going to happen because we are not breeders here, Amy. No, we are not. Amy was the third leopard gecko that I ever had. I adopted her back in November of 2015 from someone who was moving away out of the area. And she's been nothing but a delight. You know, she's been a really easy gecko except for when she's ovulating and wants nothing to do with food. But that's okay. That's pretty normal. This is Shireen. Shireen has severe enigma syndrome, but when it comes to hornworms, you can hardly tell because she just gobbles them up instantly. And I actually find that feeding enigmas hornworms is just a piece of cake. I think it's like how big they are, how juicy they are, how like strong smelling or strong colored they might be. I don't know exactly what it is in terms of like the science of it, but literally every single gecko that has enigma syndrome has a really easy time eating them, including Shireen, who typically doesn't have an easy time eating anything. This is Melisandre, and she is sleeping, so we'll come back to her sometime after I feed Tormund. So this is Tormund, who's actually a girl gecko, not a guy gecko, even though she's named after a male character. But as you can see, she very quickly gobbles down this hornworm, and you might notice that her eye on the left is a little bit smaller, not a normal size eye compared to the normal eye on the right. That is because she has a neurological disorder, and she is the accidental pairing of two het albino strains, which cause the neurological disorder and the small eye. But other than that, she gets along quite well. So now we're back to Melisandre. Melisandre is a gecko that has enigma syndrome, and on top of that, lately she's been ovulating, so she has not been eating, but as you see in this clip, she actually is eating, and you're going to see her kind of like spit it out here in a second, and I think it's just because it was going down a certain way that wasn't comfortable, because as you can see, she didn't spit it out all the way and she kept eating it, but nonetheless, she usually doesn't have any problems eating. I think it's just because she's ovulating, and so she's already just kind of sensitive and weak and tired. There she is. As you can see, she swallowed it down just fine. She is so beautiful. Alright, on to two very difficult geckos. The gecko on the left that I'm feeding first, that's Sam, and the gecko on the right that looks like she is sleeping, that's Gilly. To be honest, I didn't expect either of them to eat because they are ovulating. They ovulate late in the year, and they actually don't pick up eating again until late in the summer, but fortunately Sam ate, and unfortunately Gilly did not eat, and I find this to be a pattern with Gilly. I think that she takes ovulation worse than Sam, and that's why when I first got them, Gilly looked like she was almost dead, whereas Sam looked a lot better than that, but still pretty tiny. So as you can see, Gilly wanted nothing to do with it, so since it's a small hornworm, I offered it to Sam again. Let's see if she'll take it. I'm not going to spoil it for you. Let's see what's going to happen. And she ate it. Not really enthusiastically, but she ate it, which is good. And I try to give them as much as they'll eat in a sitting because they lose weight so easily during ovulation and because they can be so particular about food. But yeah, Gilly wanted nothing to do with me. And here's Tywin, my biggest gecko, and I'm not about to feed him off tongs because he goes crazy for his food, especially superworms. I think he's the only gecko in the house that likes superworms more than hornworms, but he still eats it anyway because he is a king. He eats all the food. He's not a picky eater at all, and it's also great he can eat on his own because he doesn't have a neurological disorder like the others. This is Renly. Renly is everyone's favorite gecko. She's my second gecko that I ever had. She's my oldest gecko as well. I think she's like almost 10 now at this point. And she's got big, beautiful eyes. And I wasn't expecting her to eat because she's been ovulating as well, but she did. This gecko, however, just came out of ovulation and she's feeling like a monster, so she's been eating food like crazy. This is Brienne. I got her with Varys, and they both were like half the weight that they should have been, so she is my biggest female in the house. So here I have Ray's food. It's made from Pangea with black soldier fly larvae. It's just a little powdered stuff, and you mix it with some water, and bam! And this is Ray's house. It has not been sprayed down yet for the night. I didn't want it to be hard to see in here, so she left me some lovely poop. How sweet. So, oops, I almost spilled this. There we go. I put it inside that little plastic cup because if I put it in the plastic cup instead of in the milk cap, it just like dries up really fast because it's just like too thin in the bottom. Anyway, yeah, she's easy. There she is right now, and there's, look, more poop. We are almost finished for nightly duties, but as you can see, there are 4 tiny hornworms in here, and they are for my fire-belly toads, which are not actually toads, they're frogs, but still they're called fire-belly toads. Now I have to take each one of my toads out by hand and put it in here. I don't recommend handling your toads. I only do this for a few seconds, like a couple times a week, in order to feed them. I can't feed them within their enclosure because it's just a hassle. They kind of fight over the food, they attack each other, they accidentally bite each other. It's nonsense, so I take them out to feed them. However, I am working on an enclosure upgrade that would make my life a bit easier, and if you want to know more about that, you can follow me over on Patreon because I released a 20-minute video all about the changes I plan to make to 5 of my enclosures. So don't mind the filter sound, and hopefully that will provide you with enough space to be able to see the worms and the frogs. But I'm going to tongue feed them those little tiny worms when I get in there, or else one frog will gobble up all 4. So first we have Bolin, and he definitely enjoys being tongue fed. He's a little baby. Oh. There you go. Oh, you didn't get it. It stuck to the tongs. My dog Zach decided he wants to wake up and come bother me. Alright, Bolin has finished that one. So we're going to take him out and put him back home. And then we have, this one is Mako. Mako likes to eat fast and leave. She doesn't mess around. Alright, ready? And now we have, oh no, come back. Come back. Come back. Don't be difficult, Asami. Asami, who's a strong frog. Almost as strong as Korra, but I think that she's got more energy than Korra. And by she, I mean he. I think I have a bunch of boys. Good job. Ready? And last but not least, Korra, who is concealed at the moment. Alright, let me get her real quick. And we have Korra, who's a big frog. Come here. Back up a little bit. You're a big old frog, huh, Korra? There you are. Good girl. Actually, boy. Pretty sure they're all boys except Mako, which I think is funny. Ah, come back. And that's it. That's all for the frogs. So as you can see, there are a number of mealworms in this large dish, and that is for Roku, my fire skink. I put his food in his bowl at night, and then in the morning, as soon as the light comes on, he eats them all, and that's how I know he's eaten. So these are the axolotl food pellets. As you can see, they're in a jar, not the bag, but this is like what the bag was called. I've had them in this jar for a long time. The bag was like super huge and it kept falling over because it wasn't sitting up straight. I got tired of it, put it in an old jar, and yeah, that's it. So they each get a pellet. So Harry's will be broken in half and Ron will be solid, and they get these every other day to every 2 days. So this is how big they are. They have like super great reviews, and the person that I got Ron from a few years ago actually recommended these to me, and so of course that's what I stuck with, and as I got Harry I stuck with these too. The thing to know is you can also feed worms. Look, there's calcium on the side of my hand. You do not just have to feed pellet-based diet, but Ron, as he got older, stopped eating worms, and so this is what I was left with. So it's difficult to see, but I'm dropping his food in here. He's in his cage right now, and I'm dropping Harry's in as well. So this is my bearded dragon, Franklin, and I don't know if I'm going to leave the entirety of him eating up because it does take quite a few minutes, so I think what I'll do is I'll speed up some of the footage and then not include some of the other footage. So every day I feed Franklin as many turnip greens or dandelion greens as he would like to eat in one sitting. He used to eat mustard and collard greens, but then I guess he decided he didn't like them anymore after a while, and then now he has settled for turnip greens and dandelion greens. Because Franklin is a full-grown bearded dragon, I think that he is 4 years old now. I got him in 2014, so yeah, he'd be 4 years old. Actually, he just turned 4 years old this April. How sweet. But anyways, so Franklin is 4 years old, and because he's 4 years old, he doesn't need to eat worms every single day or any sort of like protein-based live food every day. So Franklin only gets superworms once or twice a week, and sometimes he gets dubia roaches depending on just what his mood is, but he loves superworms. I know there is some controversial feelings about whether or not superworms are good for them. He does not get mealworms. He does get superworms. He does get dubia roaches. And on the rarest of occasions, he's given a couple waxworms. But those are pretty much what he eats. And really, he eats more greens than anything else. On this particular day, Franklin did not eat any worms. It was not time for him to eat worms, so you're only going to see him eating some greens. And look, he had a little bit stuck on the side of his mouth, so I helped him out a little bit. But yeah, he didn't eat any worms, just greens today. One last thing I want to say about Franklin, in case anybody wants to write this down in the comments. No, there's nothing wrong with his face or his eyes. I know his eyes look abnormally large and his head looks really short, but that's actually just the species of bearded dragon that he is. I actually didn't know that there were that many different ones until someone who rescues bearded dragons shared a post about it, but if you look up the different head sizes and shapes for bearded dragons, there are so many. I just wanted to point that out since it's a question that I get about Franklin a lot, but yes, he's completely normal, no worries. Well, about as normal as any spoiled, picky bearded dragon could possibly be. So this is Haku, our blue-tongued skink. He does not like being watched while he eats, so I put a plate of chicken and spaghetti squash in front of him, and then I have to walk away in order for him to eat it. So the next clip that you're going to see is his enclosure from very, very far away. But as you can see, he's just staring at it while I'm next to him, and he just doesn't want to eat it. He's like, nope, I refuse to have an audience. But the moment that I walk away, which you'll see in this clip right here, the moment that I walk away, he starts eating it, and he eats all of it. And I'm just like, why are you like this? Why? We love you. We just want to see you eat. But he refuses. While editing, I realized that I did not include Mira. Mira does not get hand-fed. She eats from a bowl because she's still pretty afraid of me. So I gave her a small hornworm in her bowl, and she ate it while I was not in the room. But this is Mira. She's very beautiful, growing super well. And I want you to know that I'm so happy that you watched, and I hope that you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Oh yeah, and please subscribe. Bye.